Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the agenda meeting of the Board of Directors, where we are to determine our agenda for our upcoming meeting on October 17th. I'd like to welcome all of you who are here to check in on us as we consider this activity and business. First of all, let me ask Linda Stauffer to introduce her guest, as she is now doing our wonderful interpretation for the hearing impaired. Welcome, Linda.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to be upstairs today but I will go downstairs immediately after. We're very honored to have with us a very special person from China. Her name is Dr. Xuan, X-U-A-N, Xuan Zhang, Z-H-E-N-G. She's the first deaf person in China to earn a PhD in China. And yay. So she's here in the U.S. for about 4 months and doing some research in 6 different schools for the deaf and interpreting programs. So she stayed at the ASD, the School for the Deaf, here last week, and she's been with me 2 weekends, and she's been at the University of Arkansas Little Rock for the past 2 days and presented to our interpreting students. You want to say hello? You want to say something? Hello, hi. I'm very excited to be here. And now this is the first time that I've been able to come into a government building and to observe. So this is good. I am Chinese. Last year I was able to stay in Minnesota at the Metro School for the Deaf there, and I taught Chinese Sign Language in an immersion program in a Chinese classroom to deaf students there. So I hope in the future perhaps we can have some deaf immersion here and maybe develop a program to teach Chinese Sign Language here. I really invite all of you to come to China, really. Thank you very much.
So, Linda, would you ask, I assume that interpreting sign language in Chinese is different than the interpretation characters in English?
Do you want to answer that? Yeah. Yes, it is different. And she was teaching us a little bit of Chinese Sign Language this morning, but she is fluent in both spoken Chinese, sign Chinese, English, and American Sign Language. So she is one very smart lady, smarter than me, I have to say. So,
well, tell her we are very happy to have her as a guest here in the city and in our state, and certainly her academic performance is something that for those of us who don't speak Chinese are very envious of, that she can do it in many different languages.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, I had told her that before, that she knows sign language. She does.
Wonderful.
Thank you for the opportunity.
We have a couple of presentations that we'd like to take care of. The first one is to recognize some girl golf state champions from the Baptist Preparatory School. And let me call on City Director Lance Hines for the presentation.
Thank you, Mayor and fellow board members, Vice Mayor Webb. On September 26, 2017, Baptist Prep Lady Eagles won the 4A Girls State Golf Championship at the Maumelle Country Club. Led by the Dunston sisters, Baptist Prep won by 54 shots over CAC. Last year, they beat CAC by 24 shots. This is the second consecutive and 4th overall Girls State Championship for Baptist Prep. The others were in 2016, 2014, and 2008. Caitlin Dunston and Bailey Grace Dunston were named to the All-State team for the 4A. The team is coached by Angie Hopkins. Steve Miller is the athletic director. June Haney is the upper school president, and Dr. Laura Bednar is headmaster. On top of all this, senior Caitlin Dunstan won the girls 4A golf medalist at the tournament. This marked the third year that she had won the medalist honor. After 2 years of shooting 73 in the finals, this time she shot a 70. She beat her younger sister by 3 strokes. They may love each other, but on the golf course they compete to beat each other, as Caitlin told the Democrat Gazette. She's quoted as saying, "I was getting some good shots in and my driver was really good, but it was all about beating my little sister. She beat me at conference." It's a little payback, right? Coach, would you and your players come up, and I'm going to read these plaques and present them to you. The first plaque I have is the team plaque. Mayor Mark Stodola, the City Board of Directors, and City Manager Bruce T. Moore congratulate the Baptist Prep Eagles 2017 4A Girls State Golf Championship. In the quest for the championship, the players and coaches exemplified outstanding sportsmanship, participation, leadership, responsibility, and teamwork. And this is dated October 10th, 2017. Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you.
You guys,
Come on up around.
come on around.
Thank you so much.
Coach or Caitlin, would you like to say a few
I've
words?
got one more award, Coach, and then I'll let them both speak here. The other is for the individual medalist. Mayor Mark Stodola, the City Board of Directors, and City Manager Bruce T. Moore congratulates Caitlin Dunstan, Baptist Prep 4A Girls State Golf Champion medalist. In the quest for the championship, she and the coaches exemplified outstanding sportsmanship, participation, leadership, responsibility, and teamwork. It's also dated October 10th, 2017. Caitlin? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome. Coach, I'll let you guys, you say a few words, and then if each one of your girls will come up and introduce themselves and tell what year they are, and if they're a senior and they know what college they're going to, they can tell us that too. But if I remember right, I don't know if you've got any seniors yet, do you?
I do, 3 of them.
3 of them. Oh, wow. So you'll be replacing, there you go.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the honor of being here and recognizing these young ladies. They've done a great job. They have not lost any matches. It's been very fun. We also have a boys team, and they have repeatedly beat all the boys. So it's been very fun to watch them do this. I do have 3 seniors on the team, and they will be graduating, obviously, and that leaves us with 2, but we're rebuilding, so hopefully we will get a chance to come down here and see you guys again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Coach. And girls, if you'll come forward and tell us who you are, what grade you're in.
I'm a senior and I'll be attending UCA next fall.
Your name? Your name?
Oh, Reagan Reed.
I'm Bailey Dunstan, and I'm a sophomore, and I'm not sure where I'm going to college.
I'm Caitlin Dunstan. I'm a senior, and I'm going to Belmont University.
On a golf scholarship. Yes.
I'm Ella Baker, and I'm a freshman.
I'm Macy Couch and I'm a senior and I'm planning on attending Oklahoma State University.
Well, very good. Congratulations to all of you. Director Richardson, you're recognized, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just want to echo your congratulations to the coach and your team. Hold on one second, ladies. While we don't necessarily have the sibling rivalry, Director Nahas and I have a colleague rivalry, and I beat him by 12 strokes the last time as well, so I can appreciate the margin of victory. You guys certainly keep up the great work, and those of you going to college, congratulations. Thank you. Good luck. And we don't have, Mayor, we don't have the misfortune of losing to our female colleagues because none of them will play with us. So congratulations on beating the guys. We really appreciate that.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you very much.
Our next report is an annual report from our Little Rock Sync Committee, and let me call on one of our co-chairs, Kenny McKinney, to give us a report. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor.
Dr. Hampton had a previous engagement, so I'm going to take care of all this for her. Thank you very much, Mayor Stola, Vice Mayor Webb, City Directors, and City Manager Bruce Moore for allowing us the opportunity to come before you and report on the Senate Committee. This report is going to be posted on the Little Rock Senate section of the city's website at littlerock.gov. In addition, that website will also feature all the past updates from the City Department to the Senate Committee. Last year, you reappointed us as co-chairs, Dr. Hampton and I, and some reappointments to the committee. Thank you for allowing us to continue to serve the citizens of Little Rock. This committee currently has one vacancy in Ward 2, which we plan on filling in the next few weeks. Finance Director Sarah Lenahan keeps us updated on the city's sales tax revenue, and she has reported to you each month. 2017 continues to be a challenging year, with revenues increasing and decreasing on a regular basis month to month, though perhaps more stable in 2016. The most recent report for revenues collected through July shows a 2.93% higher than the same time in 2016, and we are cautiously optimistic that the positive trend will continue. We also know that the city manager and the finance staff keep a close eye on revenues as well as expenditures. Now, capital expenditure highlights. The Josephine Pankey Center, the West Little Rock Substation and Community Center opened in November of 2016. In addition, the city continues to plan for the new Southwest Little Rock Fire Station, and as you know, the land has already been acquired. The city is in a multi-year process of budgeting for the equipment purchase and phasing in the staff of the facility. The Public Works Sidewalks crew has completed 162,019 square feet of new sidewalks in the past 4 years. An additional 82,252 square feet of sidewalks has begun being built by the contractor. That's close to 250,000 square feet of new sidewalks, or a total of 9.25 miles of sidewalks that have been reconstructed. Public Works continues to finish the projects from the first round of sales tax projects. Each ward was allocated $2.6 million for a total of 69 projects. All design work is completed. One of the right-of-way acquisition phases, 7 are under construction and 61 are complete. As a reminder, several of these remaining projects were added later after the initial round of projects were approved. For the second round of projects, a total of $2.6 million in sales tax funding was allocated for each ward that included resurfacing and street drainage projects. Of the current 38 street drainage projects, 23 are in the design phase, 10 are in the right-of-way and bid phase, and 5 are under construction. On Parks and Recreation, the main capital project for the Parks and Recreation currently is the construction of the new West Central Community Center. This is a $6.2 million project that opened in 2016. In addition, there have been upgrades and new equipment purchases for numerous parks throughout the city. Continuing with Parks and Rec, the department crews have been busy working on the expansion of the Vogue Schwartz Sculpture Garden, work on the amphitheater, and improvements to the Arkansas River Trail. In our IT department, they have focused on several areas, including website upgrades, increased computer system security, upgrades to the N4 Lawson system used by the finance and HR, and installing fiber at various Little Rock police facilities. Last year, the city launched the new website. And on the zoo, upgrades to the zoo have been made to the lion, the colobus, serval, Somali, wild ass, man wolf, yellow black dukier. These are okay. Diker. And this crane exhibit. I'm sorry.
Kenny, can you describe those animals for us?
No, but I could definitely go back through them and butcher them the same way I just did. In addition to many other improvements have been made to ensure increased safety and the health of the animals. Enhanced patron experiences have also been focused, including making the zoo even more accessible to visitors with disabilities. Now, to segue from the capital to the operations expenditures, first up is public safety. So in the police department, we've had 26 recruits that have graduated in 2017. 8 were on February the 3rd, 18 on August the 4th, and recruit class number 88 with 26 members started August the 21st and will graduate this coming February the 2nd of 2018. 3 code officers, which are certified officers from other agencies, will start a 6-week academy on October the 30th and graduate in December. And then recruit class number 89 will start November the 13th of 2017. As you know, the city views public safety more than just police and fire. The 911 call taker staff saw 10 members graduating on September the 29th. Additional personnel scheduled to start an 8-week academy on December the 11th. On animal services, 4 out of the 7 officers' positions are currently filled, but the remaining 3 are scheduled to be filled October the 25th. The housing code enforcement has 1 academy class that is held in 2017 with a total of 10 officers being hired. Fleet Services committed to replacing all the aging vehicles and provide new ones to accommodate the additional staff that has been hired. And as you can see, they have purchased a little over $782,000 worth of vehicles and equipment this year for 7 different city departments. At the Little Rock Scent Committee meetings, we receive updates from various departments. One of the highlights has been to hear the successes of the reentry program. I'm going to mention some of the successes. Since October the 1st of 2015, there have been over 1,200 residents enrolled in the reentry program. The next slide will show our city departments which have authorized positions for the reentry positions. Community Programs is currently working with Finance, Fire, Parks, and Planning to add them to the list. As you can see on the chart, the number of authorized positions with the total number of people who have been placed in these positions over the years, I want to highlight that 29 people have been promoted to full-time positions with the city, while other participants have been hired by non-city employers. As a reminder, while it's a wonderful that many of the participants have found full-time employment with the city, that's not the sole goal of the program. The main focus is to offer paid, on-the-job training to allow participants to get the skills they need to compete in the workforce. To that end, the city also partners with a variety of other businesses and nonprofits. 290 participants have been referred for placement between 2 providers, The Good Grid, which is ProTech, and Our House Incorporated. In addition, several private sector employment partnerships have been developed, including Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, Tyson Foods, Polished Mobile Details, Ace Glass, and Union Pacific Railroad. As mentioned earlier, the members of the Little Rock Scent Committee hear about these successes at our quarterly meetings. We receive updates on the status of many operational and capital expenditures, and the committee members ask questions about programs, projects, and processes. The meetings are open to the public, and we also are pleased when the members of the city board and general public are able to attend. Meetings are usually the 3rd Wednesday of every 2nd month each quarter. However, in November, the meeting will be the 2nd Wednesday, and the next meeting will be November the 8th at 11:30 at the Center at University Park.
Well, thank you very much, Kenny. Are there any questions by any board members?
Thank you.
Okay, very good report, and it's really good to kind of get that annual calendar year to see how we're moving along on a variety of these issues. So thank you so much for your leadership and hard work on the committee.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we can now move forward on the agenda. We've got some modifications. One is an addition for a reappointment to the Little Rock Housing Authority Board of Commissioners and the withdrawal of item 5. If there's no objection, we'll go forward with those. We can now look at Director Richardson.
Yes, Mayor. One quick question in respect to the Scent Committee report. I think we hired 29 full-time positions in this within city government. I think we mentioned some of our potential private sector partners. what are our recruitment efforts to increase the private sector? Is there anything we're doing to utilize the bully pulpit or the mayor's office or the city manager's office to help improve or increase those numbers in terms of getting the private sector more involved in what we're trying to do with the reentry program? Mayor Bruce.
Mr. Moore, I think Dana has left, but
Yeah, I was coming mainly from the level of the policymakers up here. Is there anything we're doing with respect to particular policies that can provide incentives to increase those numbers from the private sector standpoint?
That continues to be something that is a challenge, but also a charge for us. And I think all of us play a role in that. I think we have really, our summer jobs, our youth employment program has really evolved. We have that week-long training that all the children have, our students have to go through. So it's something we continue to focus on and try to develop strategies around how we can get more private sector participants.
Thank you, Bruce.
and the Good Grid was referenced on here, but we are working actively with them relative to job recruitment. There are, and they are doing a pretty good job of inventorying the various sectors that have jobs, and so we're working on that referral process through our house and Goodwill as it relates to placing people. Certainly discussions have occurred with the chamber as well relative to letting them see the success that we've had relative to the hiring of people who've had a previous record. And I would note that the Racial and Cultural Diversity Commission has on 2 occasions this past year held a reentry day where people are not only getting their records expunged, but there's also job recruitment places, job recruitment individuals that are there as well.
Thank you, Mayor. Just, I mean, the fact that the city, we do so much business with so many people within the private sector, just entertain the notion of utilizing incentives to increase those numbers that we're projecting as goals through the use of incentives with our contracting ability at the city.
And I think that's an interesting a point you're making. I don't know what we should look into how we communicate with some of our prospective vendors in terms of what their employment needs are and let them know about the success that we have on these programs. So, Mr. Moore, we might want to look at that and see if there's a way to do an outreach on with some of our existing people that we contract with. I know that from a construction standpoint, we're issuing a lot of street work, and I don't know whether there's an opportunity there or not, but clearly that's something we should look into.
Thank you.
Okay, consent agenda items 1 through 6. If you all would look at those and let me know if you have any questions on any of them. Director Hendricks,
I wanted to know resolution.
you pull that microphone closer to you.
Thank you. Resolution 2. Can you help me with that?
Yes.
Was this donated by whom? Or am I reading that wrong?
Let me ask Mr. Turner to come forward, or Mr. Tapp, our redevelopment administrator.
Good evening, Mayor, City Board. I'm sorry, what was that now?
Bring me up on this number 2. Was that transferred to us from an individual? Explain that. It's sort of double talking. The property on Main Street?
Yes, ma'am. Director Hendricks, those are being sold to in affordable housing for new construction affordable housing. Okay. Those properties were donated to the city.
Do you know who was it sold to?
Who they're being sold to?
Yeah.
In affordable housing.
Okay. In affordable, that's one of our agencies, is that right?
That's a local community housing development organization, the CHODO.
Do you know who owns it? Or
yes, ma'am.
Who
Roma Assam.
Who?
Roma Assam.
Yeah, that's what I need to know. Is not in the information here. Okay, thank you.
Doug, can you tell us what their plans are specifically and when they plan to build these new units?
Yes, sir. Their plans are to immediately start construction on 2 single-family residents that are designed for affordable housing, and those may include government subsidy for the buyer. It's my understanding
Is
he
this done
already
through our
has those
home?
in place. I'm sorry?
This is done through our home program. I see Victor nodding yes.
It could be.
Would you email that information to me, please?
Yes, ma'am.
The company name, number, and all that.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, if there's no other questions on items 1 through 6, we can now move on to the planning and development items 7 and 8. Director Wright.
Yes,
By the way, congratulations on surviving, and we're glad to see you in one piece and back here.
Thank you. God is good, and I am.
Yes, I know we've been checking on you, and I just want everybody to know we're very pleased that certainly you were able to come out of that without any more serious bumps and bruises than you received, and we're very thankful as well that obviously God was looking out for you that day.
Grace and mercy is all I can say. I'd like, but before I do that, I would also like to thank all of my colleagues for checking on me. I would also like to thank all of my constituents who send flowers, cards, emails, texts. I have been inundated. My phone has not stopped ringing. It's gratifying to know that people care and that they appreciate my service that I've tried to render. And I just want them to know that I am doing okay. I'm able to sleep. Epsom salt and water makes a big difference, honey. I never knew how much of a difference it made, but it does make a big difference. But thank you all so much, and I am doing well. Item number 8, I'd like a presentation on that, Mayor.
Oh, very good.
May I ask our planning director, Mr. Collins, to come forward?
Oh, okay. I bet I know who this is.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the board, Director Wright. What this is the property at 10,108 West 20th Street. You can see on the plan, it's that little the corner piece in there. It comprises of 3 platted lots on there. What they're looking to do is change the zoning from R2 residential to R4 to put in 3 duplex structures at that location.
Who is the company? I believe I know. I want to make
It
sure.
is, the owner is Irving Freeman. The applicant was Kenny Whitfield.
Yeah.
Perry's Pennies LLC.
Yes, I'm aware of the projects that they're doing. They're doing an excellent job. This is our middle market housing for the rest of my colleagues, and there is a need in Ward 6, not so much for the low-income housing. We have a lot of that, but middle market housing is what we are lacking, and that's what these duplexes fulfill. So I have been in support of what they've been doing, and I have not gotten any negative comments from any of the neighbors or any other constituents about the projects, and the properties are extremely nice. Thank you.
Director Hancock, you're recognized, please.
Yes, item 7, please.
Director Hancock, this is the rezoning from R2 to I2 zoning. The property, as you see up there, it's been used. It was part of the Little Rock Dodge dealership for a long time. It's been used as a commercial use for a long time. And so they're applying to change it, to that I-2, which is the adjacent property of what it is, and the ownership is the same. So it's, the change in zoning is not going to affect anything that's out there. Currently, some of the area is gravel, parking, asphalt used for that, and then some of it is just open space.
Okay, this will not have any impact on the overpass there, will it?
No, ma'am.
There's none of this that we need for right-of-way or?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And what is the use going to be?
They're going to use it for temporary storage for automobiles. That's where they're going to store it. Used for vehicle parking and storage, for
Is this from the Asher Record?
I do not know that. I'll find that out, but I don't believe it is, but I can find that out for you.
I kind of would think that this might be part of Asher Record on storage. And what kind of fencing are you going to have to protect the neighborhood over there? It's right across the street from Greater Second and their education building, I believe.
Well, right now, there's
Parking lot.
not proposed to, do a site plan, it's just a rezoning. So when it went through, there wasn't any proposed, fencings on there to go around adjacent. I mean, it was commercial to commercial. I would have, we can talk to them about the fencing they were looking to put on there
Because
before the meeting.
the front of it is right next to residential, and those are for some nice homes. In fact, I think 2 of those homes are new over there.
And typically that comes when they redevelop the property, but I can definitely speak to them and we'll bring something back to you.
Okay, and I would like to have the applicant here so that we can ask them about protection for that neighborhood.
Okay.
Thank you.
Director Hendricks, you're recognized, please.
Oh, it would be later. Thank you. At the end.
Director Richardson, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Can you come back for a quick second? So back on item number 7, the primary use would be storage of vehicles for auction purposes. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And the auction won't take place on site?
No, it won't take place. It'll just come in and leave. It's just for a temporary storage for that.
Just temporary storage?
Yeah, well, temporary is relative. It could be there, but that's not a long-term storage for that. That's what they propose.
And all the vehicles will be operable?
That I don't know. I mean, the auction could be, you would assume the majority of them are operable. That's not an item that was requested, but I can get that for you.
All right, thank you.
All right, we can now look at items 9, 10, and 11. Any questions on any of these 3? Oh, yes. Director Hines.
No questions, I just wanted to thank Tom and Bruce and staff, Tracy, for reworking that ordinance on number 10. I think it's taking care of all the concerns. I'll go speak for BJ as well. I think the concerns we both had, but thank you.
Director Wyrick, you're recognized, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I do appreciate you all looking at the livestock aspect of this ordinance. I got to thinking after our last meeting, we got the state fair coming in. We have all those horses and all those bucking bulls and goats and rabbits and chickens that are coming to show, and then the state fairgrounds has livestock there quite often during the year. So I think this is most helpful. So I appreciate you all working with this. Thank you.
Director Campiris, you're recognized.
Well, I also appreciate y'all doing it, but can Tracy go over what the changes are so everybody would know?
Mayor, members of the board, Director Pierce, our main objective of this is what we've done is we focused on the heat of the summer, and for domesticated animals such as cats and dogs is basically what we're looking at. Thank you.
Director Hancock, you're recognized, please.
I guess I'm a little bit different on this. Mr. Carpenter, we have an advisory board. The Animal Services Advisory Board is the name of it. And everything that comes from this board usually goes through the Animal Services Advisory Board where they can look at it and everything. And for some reason, this was not given the opportunity to go through the Animal Services Advisory Board where they can look at it and work out the problems and everything before it comes to this board.
Director Hancock, it was sent to the Animal Advisory Board on the front end. Some of the suggestions for additions, which the board has suggested needed to be deleted, came from the Animal Advisory Board. When the city manager asked for a couple of weeks to go back and take it, we didn't send it back, and then Director Peck, who was who generated the ordinance, told us that she wanted us to cut out livestock and cold weather. And so at that point, my only question was to make sure that livestock took care of cows. And I was assured that it did, and horses and other things. And so that's why we didn't send it back to the advisory board this time, because it basically is dealing with things that they had not brought up.
You know, I never remember it coming to the advisory board.
It did. Mr. Rourke sent it to them, and like I said, they made certain changes. The concept of dealing with the animal in the back of a truck was from the advisory board. It was not from the initial draft by Director
But it
Beck.
didn't go back before we have it back before us now.
No, because as
Advisory
I
board.
said, it was the city manager asked it to be taken back, and then the author of the ordinance told us, take these out, and so that's what's being brought back.
Well, I don't think this ever was intended to take care of the animals at the livestock show, of good animal owners. This was for those people who mistreat animals and everything. So now people can mistreat animals. We don't have an ordinance to protect them.
I don't think that's accurate. If I may, and I apologize for interrupting because I shouldn't have done that, but there's one big reason I wanted to have this ordinance in place, and that is because entry into an automobile is entry into protected property, and it puts the officers, whether it's fire, police, or animal services, at risk for a Fourth Amendment question. And it also does so in a way that they may be liable for damage to the car if we have to break a window to get in. So that was a major interest that I was trying to get addressed, and this is addressed in the ordinance. In terms of, I mean, I learned things about how they can tell how hot it is in there or how cold it is in there. In terms of the stuff in the open back of a pickup truck, I'd never thought about that before until that came from Animal Services. But even so, we have an ordinance that expressly states that nobody can subject an animal to cruelty by extreme weather conditions. And Director Fortson at the meeting the other night made the comment of, well, can we do this already? And Mr. Rourke said that we could, but the fact is, when you've got the phrase extreme temperature conditions in a penal ordinance, which has a monetary sanction to it, then the debate becomes, what do you mean by extreme? And the one thing I think that caught the board's attention, the 70 degrees outside, which could trigger an interest in this, is there because at that point, with inside a closed car, it can jump up to 90 or 95. I don't think these are people that are trying to hurt their animals. I think these are people that aren't aware that they went inside for more than 2 minutes to look at something and come back out. In the meantime, we didn't want to be in a situation where the animal died.
Well, I just feel like that we've left lots of animals unprotected by doing this. And I've taken out some of the things that you've took out of this.
I appreciate that. My feeling is that I think that this is going to serve a very important need that we've got. If we find that there's a greater increase in terms of cold water problems, I'm sure that cold weather problems, I'm sure we'll bring that back. But I also have to tell you that not only from Director Warwick, but from others, I got stories about livestock, which was never intended to deal with this type of thing. And so I thought for now that's a good change. Now, I cannot agree with Director Hines because I've never seen a hunting dog that wasn't treated better than a family. So, but that's my own bias.
Thank you.
All right, are there any other questions about any of the items on 9, 10, or 11? If not, then that concludes the agenda that we have. Let me mention that on Saturday, early in the morning, we've got the Coleman Race for the Cure, and the city is a big participant in it and a big supporter of it, and we'll be gathering back to see hundreds of, well, I say hundreds, thousands of people crossing over the new Broadway Bridge. And I think, Mr. Moore, we're going to have coffee and some refreshments there and some music. And I think I'm going to be in a bucket truck waving at everybody, which is always fun. So I would encourage everybody to come on out. Any other announcements? Director Hines.
Yes. Bruce, could we have John come up and clarify for me on the Canis Road project? I know it affects Director Wright and I both, and I'm getting a lot of questions about it, and I just wanted to get it on the record where we're at and all that good stuff.
Mr. Honeywell.
So John, I know you sent me an email earlier and we were talking, the design work on the 2 sections of Canismore improvements is 100%. It's ready to roll. We're just held up by some right-of-way acquisitions still.
Yes, sir. We're complete with the design. We have, out of the 51 parcels of property that we are acquiring right-of-way and easements for, we have 9 of those that are not completed yet. Some of those are court issues as far as ownership or bankruptcy that we're working through, and other of those are parcels that we've been negotiating for a long time with property owners, and we're getting to that point where we're probably going to have to start talking about eminent domain to finally get those pieces acquired.
Thanks. I'm just getting a lot of questions, especially with the Lowe's that's getting ready to open up, of where we're at on those projects. So, and we're running into the 2018 is fast approaching for the other sections, so maybe we can just have one continuous project on that roadway.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Director Campuris, you're recognized, please.
I would encourage all the board members and anybody that's listening to go back to yesterday's paper and read Bruce's guest editorial. It was superb. It is to the point, and it really talks about how we should define ourselves as a board and a city and a nation. So I would encourage everybody to go back and look at it that hadn't seen it.
Director Wright, you're recognized, please.
Yes, my question is for John, and I want to reiterate something that Dean and I had mentioned to the city manager. The intersection of Bowman and Canis, what, if any, improvements are planned for that intersection to stop the stacking effect that takes place during peak times?
A majority of that intersection is has already been rebuilt as part of developments that occurred there. We are doing improvements on all legs. The southbound leg, not as much improvement is being done, but we are doing some work there to try to increase the stacking potential for left turns.
Decrease it or
increase that? We're increasing the amount of cars that can stack at the intersection. Mm-hmm. So it'll allow for better movement to people get through that intersection.
Okay. And then my next question is regarding the landmark apartments at Cooper Orbit and Canis. Have we, they're getting ready to open, I think, phase 2, and I'm concerned that we are going to encounter some issues with the turning lanes. Will you all please keep your eye on that to let me know, or let Lance and I know if anything needs to be done? I know they were trying to reroute Canis or Cooper Orbit, or one of them.
I believe you're talking about the apartments that are sort of in the triangular part of the Cooper Orbit.
Landmark.
Yeah, we're currently trying to work on the road that they built on the western edge of those apartments. Mm-hmm. We're working to try to get that connection made down to Cooper Orbit, or work out a way to do that.
What is the status?
At this point, I'll have to look and get you an updated status. Part of that issue is that's the county when you get to a certain point, so we've had to work through with a lot of different agencies and folks trying to get something worked out between all of those parties to try to get some property acquired to be able to do that connection across there.
Well, will you give me a detailed plan of where we are, what we're trying to do, so I can let the people in the Spring Valley Manor and Capitol Hills Estates know that we are at least trying to address this?
Yes, ma'am.
And will you also address the fact of whether or not a traffic signal is now warranted or will be warranted once phase 2 opens?
At Cooper Orbit and Canis?
Yes.
Certainly.
And then, Mr. Moore, I'm still focused on the widening of Bowman. It is a major concern to the people that live in those subdivisions along that corridor, Cherry Creek, Brody Creek. It's just a major problem. And the price tag that's associated with it It's just not doable. So we need an alternative plan, and I'm asking you to please have staff look at some alternatives to alleviating that problem along that corridor and come up with a plan so that when we do have additional monies available, we can put forth a plan to address Bowman Road. And that's from Canis down to 36th Street. That's a long corridor, but there are a lot of property owners, and it's my understanding that some have agreed to cooperate or have expressed a desire to cooperate with us in the widening. So please, please put together a plan. Thank you.
Director Adcock, you're recognized.
Yes, Sunday afternoon from 2 to 4, all of you should have got an invitation to an open house at 2218 Martin Street. It's a house that the City of Little Rock has rehabbed, and now it will be for sale. And we invite everyone to come out and see what a wonderful home it has turned out to be, and we're hoping that someone might come and just decide to buy it Sunday afternoon. The selling price would be $65,000. It's got all new home appliances, new air conditioning and heating. It's got a concrete driveway. It's got a new utility room built on it, and just lots of extras. So we're inviting everyone to come to 2218 Martin Street Sunday from 2 to 4. And we will even have refreshments.
Director Hendricks, you're recognized.
On that open house, Bruce, who do you all think gonna pay $55,000 for that house? Did you say 55 or 65? Oh my God. Y'all take a good look, okay? Because I would discourage anybody from, I'm a real estate broker for 26 years. I would discourage anybody from paying that kind of money for that house. And I'm serious. And I know a lot of people.
Vice Mayor Webb, you're recognized, please.
Thank you. It's a different topic. After everybody finishes the race, I hope they'll come to Ward 3 to Harvest Fest, which will be going on all day.
Harvest Fest.
All sorts of booths and food and entertainment, and it'll be going on from 11 until 10 o'clock at night on Kavanaugh in Hillcrest. And it's a lot of fun. There's usually thousands of people, and I would invite you all to come Saturday.
Director Adcock.
Mr. Carpenter, have you heard anything from the Ethics Commission since the first letter the other day?
No, I sent the letter the other day that they've got it and that they're going to deal with it, but that's the last I've heard.
Thank you.
Director Adcock asked if I had heard anything from the Ethics Commission on the request for an advisory opinion that I had sent concerning the ability to raise campaign funds prior to June 1 before the regular election. And I sent out a letter to the board that I had received that they have opened to file and that they'll be in contact with us.
Okay. Director Hendricks.
Okay, I just want to say to the group that next week I'm going to have something for you to do for me with regard to at-large positions. Any sort of comfortable. You'll see where I'm coming from. I have legal advice. Thank you.
Okay, is there anything else? Mr. Moore.
Mayor, members of the board, and to the general public, just a reminder that we will be convening in MacArthur Park on Thursday morning. Breakfast will start at 7:30, and we'll start our sessions at 8. Thank you.
Yes, does everybody understand we're going to be going through the programmatic aspects of every one of our departments, and so be ready for that. I think you've all received that information. Is that right? Good. All right. Very good. Okay, thank you very much for attending this afternoon.